All right, welcome to the Lee School Committee for Monday, July 17th, 2023. And we'll lead our thing that we need for our agenda. We are continuing to be a virtual meeting room for Governor Baker's order suspending certain provision of the open meeting law, GLC.30A, Section 20. This meeting will take place in a hybrid fashion, both virtual via Zoom or in person for those committee members and attendees choosing to access either manner. I call to order pursuant to MGLC 30A-S20. I am hereby informing all attendees that a video and audio recording is being made of the meeting. Please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Brenda, could I have a roll call, please? Sorry. Mission statement. I will read the mission statement here. The mission of the Lee Public Schools is to ensure students have an opportunity to develop the social, civil, and critical thinking skills to thrive in an ever-changing world. Brenda, can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Robin?
Here.
Ms. Cooper? Here. Ms. Kasher? Here. Mr. Langwood?
Here.
Let's see, Ms. Larman absent, Mr. Nichols absent, and Ms. Strickland.
Yes. And the first thing on our agenda tonight is the approval of all three minutes from the June 13th, 2023 Lee School Committee meeting minutes, which were the reorganization meeting, the joint meeting with the Lee Select Board, and the Lee School Committee meeting. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve all three of the June 13th, 2023 Lee School Committee meeting minutes. Second.
Brenda, any discussion? Yeah. Could I have a roll call, please?
Second. Mr. Robin?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Ms. Kasher?
Yes.
Mr. Langwood? And Ms. Strickland?
Yes. Okay, we are moving forward with our public input. Residents of Lee are invited to address the committee regarding items on this evening's agenda at this time. Issues raised will normally be referred to the administration or a subcommittee of the school committee. I see no one.
All right. Moving on to our reports. Mr. Richard, I'll hand this over to you for your superintendent update.
Thank you. And I will do a quick screen share. All right. I will be brief tonight. First, I want to just note we did move our meeting from the middle and high school library to the conference room here in the main office because the air conditioning is not working in the library, and it was a little steamy day, so I wanted to spare everyone of sweating for the few minutes that we're in our meeting tonight. Again, I'll be brief. You may have noticed when you pulled up some caution tape outside of the superintendent's office. That's because we have some concrete repairs and upgrades happening both in front of my office to repair some concrete work that was done last year, and then up at the elementary school, we'll be working on some curbing to make improvements there. Thank you to Jordan and his team for arranging that. Summer school is taking place at LES and LMHS. Going to wrap up on Thursday. It's a quick summer for those who participated, but thank you to the teachers and staff who worked all summer to get our students caught up or exceeding where their expectations were going to be. And to the students who participated as well. Again, maintenance work is taking place in both schools as we get ready for opening. I've been told that we're just shy of the halfway mark of summer. I'll be honest, I'm not keeping track, but there is a lot of activity happening each and every day. Lots of planning for the professional development to take place in August and November. We're fortunate to have an additional day of district-directed PD with teachers this year and one more day next year. So we're using those to our advantage. We've been working with the vendors of the high quality instructional materials that we purchased to get some good instructional practices aligned for the opening of the school year. We consulted and contracted with Mount Holyoke College to provide math coursework for teachers who choose to avail themselves of that. It's a 4 or 5 day professional development series where they will be focusing on creating and maintaining student-centered classrooms, and we think that will work to our advantage. And we are waiting on notification of the math implementation continuation grant. I expect, fingers crossed and knock on wood, that we will be awarded that. And that grant will be for $87,400. So that will help take us a long way in making sure that we continue to roll these curriculum out and the materials associated therewith in a positive way. I'll spare Chair Aubin the need to note this, but I've asked principals and directors, no need to report tonight. Business Administrator Jesner is in our company tonight, so he's going to have his first taste of talking about warrants and some budget transfers in a little bit. But that's all that I have for you tonight. I try to keep it brief here in July.
Any questions? How many students were involved in Summer School?
I had about, well, I think it was 28 down here. I'm not sure what
Tim had a slightly larger number because he's got an ASOS grant that covers that. So, but I'm sorry, but I can get that information to the committee in an email.
All right, any other questions? All right, we'll move on to our next part of the agenda, which is the reports from the principals and directors. But since there's no reports, we will move on to committee reports. And we have a financial subcommittee warrants, account payable and payroll we're going to go over. Ms. Richard, would you like to explain?
Sure. I'm actually going to turn it over to Mr. Jesner here, but he's going to follow. I shouldn't say. I told him I'd give him a briefing on how this goes. I apologize. I didn't mean to surprise. No. So very quickly, just so he knows how we do these things. So tonight I've got accounts payable warrant in the amount of $346,875.72. You'll see that in each of those free payments, we've got Interworld, Liminex, and Instructure. Those are correct IT related. We've got B&G Complete Concrete, Dufour and Hillcrest. That's transportation and some maintenance and some special education. And then the last one, MASC, those are dues. Otis is elevator, and Frontline is for Power School. I think, right? Eastbed, I'm sorry. So those are the high flying parts of each of those payables that went out. Nothing extraordinary, and we are aligned for the expectations for this fiscal year.
Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the accounts payable?
I move to accept the accounts payable for $346,875.72.
Any discussion? Yeah. Brenda, can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Robin?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Langway?
Yes.
And Ms. Strickland?
Next, we've got payroll. This is divided between 2 fiscal years. You'll see the top number highlighted in green, the bottom number highlighted in blue, but totaling $146,768.08. Again, rounding out FY23, we are in very, very good financial shape, as I explained to the committee in our June meeting. And then FY24, nothing extraordinary there. We're aligned. We're getting ready. We're rolling out the fiscal year, prepared to meet our targets as budgeted.
Okay, can I have a motion for payroll?
I'll make a motion to accept the payroll in the amount of $146,768.80.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Brenda, can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Robin?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Langway?
Yes.
And Ms. Strickland?
Abstain.
All right. moving on to, we're doing that now, right?
So on the agenda, you notice that the next item that would have been there is subcommittee assignments. Due to the absences of Mr. Nichols and Ms. Larman. Ms. Larman has asked that we push this off to the August meeting for her ability to sort of lead that discussion around assignments. So you can look forward to that being on. I have nothing to say about that. Anyhow, so that should be on the August, I think it's 8th, August 8th meeting agenda. And I know that, is there anyone else? Ms. Kashurik will not be with us that day. Is there anyone else who will be absent? Okay, that's fine. Okay, very good. There is no old business.
There's no old business. Now we're on a new business and we're gonna talk about the budget transfer between the ACX.
All right. So as many of you know, and some of you may not know, there is flexibility when we build the budget and we reconcile line items every year for my office to move monies between various DACs. Those are the different account code set up for various sections of the budget. So, you know, you've got central office expenses, fixed expenses, special education expenses, nursing, athletics, extracurriculars, the list goes on. What we don't have the power to do is move monies between DACs. So if one DAC is overexpended and we need to cover that using funds from an underexpended account, we need your approval in order to move those monies. At this point, I will turn it over to Eric to just talk about what you see on this spreadsheet in front of you, or this graphic in front of you, showing what transfers need to be made. After Eric does that, if provided there are no questions, we can vote on that as a single motion to move those funds.
Hi. Well, thank you. So the column all the way on the left shows the DACs that are in deficit. So top left, you'll see the principals, and it was in a deficit of 778. So we had a surplus in the health DAC. So we're taking the funds from there. Next section down, you see regular ed. Again, deficit of $120,000, $744.44. We did not have enough in any individual DAC to cover that. So there was a surplus instead of $109,850.64, from SPED, which left the balance the $10,893.80. And then there was also a surplus in other student activities where the remaining balance for the regular ed could be transferred from. And then in athletics, there was a deficit of $2,119.70. There is a surplus in the central office of $624.85, leaving the remaining balance of the $1494.85. And I apologize, I must have messed some numbers up. Leaving the balance of $1494.85. I must have messed those numbers. I apologize.
No, and then you took 4108 from health, leaving 14.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
You have 1453.
Yes. And leaving the 1,453.77, which is the remaining balance taken from other student activities, bringing us to a zero.
So ultimately what happens is if those budget transfers are approved, there are some other deficits that are covered by school choice monies that were allotted. It will still leave us with about $200,000 in unexpended school choice monies that had been approved by the committee. And again, I go back to the June meeting when we talked to you about being in a good position where we were able to allocate those monies towards the purchase of those two vehicles that we were seeking.
Are you able to give any insight into the deficit numbers? Were those just unexpected, or were they you didn't budget the right way last year?
No. Those are very natural things that happen, but some of it was us realizing we were in a good financial position, and so instead of assigning the expense directly to school choice, we assign the expense to the DAC where it would come from, and then backfill it backfill it another way. What this does is also uses up the entire of the foundation budget that was assigned to us from the town. So we keep our school choice monies, which keeps us healthy, but will zero us out at the end of the day for the monies that were assigned to us from the town. And Eric will start that lovely end of year report sometime next month.
Any other, all right, do I have a motion? To accept accept the DAC transfer?
I make a motion to accept the DAC transfer
As proposed.
as proposed.
Perfect.
Second.
Any discussion? Brenda, do I have a roll call?
Mr. Robin,
Yes.
Ms. Cooper,
Yes.
Ms. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Langwell,
Yes.
and Ms. Strickler.
Yes.
The next thing we have on the agenda is, and under new business, is a class of 1963 policy waiver. Would you, Ms. Pagenti, would you like to describe,
Sure. First, I want to correct a small typo. It's actually their 60th reunion, not their 50th. I apologize. Some members of the class of 63 came to see me last week. Their 60th reunion is this fall. They're aligning it with Founders Day weekend, so they can do one of the floats in the parade. They want to have their reception and dinner as well. They've been having a very hard time finding a place this close to September to actually reserve for their reception. So they requested that they could use the cafeteria here to host their receptions. They seated dinner, a cocktail hour, seated dinner, and maybe some light dancing. Sounded kind of like a neat idea. We've never, since I've been here, had a reunion here. We've had plenty of tours. They would like to be able to have wine and beer with the dinner, which would require the committee to waive policy ADR, which does not allow alcoholic beverages on school property. In my time here, the committee has issued a couple waivers for that policy for some fundraising galas that we had on property. Again, at least in my time, there's not been a class reunion, but there is some precedent for that. The class understands that there will be a custodial charge that they would have to pay, and they're really hopeful. They do know that if the committee approves this waiver tonight, they still have to go to the town board for a one-day employment license to do that as well. I do not foresee any issues with having a class of 63 do this. It would give me pause to recommend something for like a 10-year reunion. They can sometimes be a little rowdy. I don't really see that happening here. If everybody that is still with us show up and bring spouses, the maximum number of people would be 80. They're not expecting everybody to show up.
I move to,
yes, sir. A motion, can I have a motion to accept the school committee waiver policy ADB drug-free school and campus for this event?
I move to
Here.
waive, thank you. Policy ADB drug-free school and campus for the event to allow them to have the
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Is this the same night as the football game, or would this be
This is the Saturday.
the Saturday and the
So
football game?
they'll have their plan is to have the parade in the morning on Saturday.
Yep.
They'll do some of the other stuff that's going on in the afternoon and come here for the dinner.
And the football game.
Football game is Friday.
All right.
Teenagers running the building.
Yeah.
Have we checked with our insurance?
They will have to do, we require all outside groups to do a liability waiver.
So they're hearing liability.
Yeah, they would have to. Yeah. Yeah, they're required to submit their policy with the waiver.
All right, anyone else? Okay, Brenda, can I have a roll call?
Mr. Robin?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Langwood?
Yes.
And Mr. Clark?
Yeah, and our next piece of business, next school, or at least school committee meeting is August 8th, 2023. And now we move to a motion to adjournment.
Nicole.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? Brenda, can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Robin?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Langwood? And Mr. Clark?
Yes.
And we are adjourned at
10:21.
7:21. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and have a good night.